local people, important issues. CBS 10 WILM's weekly focus on the Lower Cape Fear region. This is Byline Wilmington with your host, Don Ansell.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us. The EPA estimates that each of us generate about 4.6 pounds of garbage per day. And if those statistics hold in New Hanover County, that's about 438 tons of solid waste a day. So the question becomes, what do we do with it? And that's our focus on this edition of Bylines. We're talking trash with our guests, New Hanover County Commissioner Bill Castor, and the chair of the Solid Waste Advisory Board. This is a board that was appointed by the commissioners to study the issue of solid waste and to give recommendations. Claud Buck O'Shields, and we call him Buck.
Thank you, Don.
You said nobody calls you Claude, unless they're mad at you. So Buck O'Shields is also with us, and thank you both for being here. So first off, does that figure surprise you? 438 tons of solid waste a day?
No. And that's probably, for families, there's a lot more when you can start taking in construction waste and all that kind of thing too. So, but per family, that's probably right.
And Buck, you've been studying this issue as the chair of the Solid Waste Advisory, SWAB. Is that number, 438 tons a day of solid waste, sustainable with our current ways of disposing with solid waste?
Well, the number's sustainable, and things continue to increase. You know, the amount of waste that's handled by the county can fluctuate based on the economy, but we've expected to see it continue to grow.
I don't understand. I mean, based on the economy, where we have three ways of disposing of solid waste. Is that, give us the three ways? Well,
the cheapest way is to bury it.
Bury it.
The second way is to recycle a lot of it, and the third way that New Hanover County does it is through incineration by using the trash as a fuel source to fire the boilers at Waste Tech, right, which produces electricity. So
you said the better our economy is, the more trash we can.
Well, the more trash will be generated. Yeah. If we look at the 4.6 pounds a day, and you get a couple more thousand people in town, around the county, then what you're going to collect is going to go up.
Right. And is it going to be more difficult to figure out what to do with it?
Well, that's what we had the Solid Waste Advisory Board to look at too, is how to handle growth, how to handle the energy facility that we have now, look at the landfill, how much space we have out there, what we can do with the landfill to maximize space, and that was their charge to come up with that. And I think the thing about the economy right now is what's happening is then construction's down a lot. So we're not getting nearly as much construction debris being brought out there, but there's still plenty of it. And we can handle that, and as Buck can explain too, we can handle that separately to keep it out of the landfill by recycling concrete and wood and things like that.
But at some point, isn't there a day of reckoning? I mean, maybe not next year, maybe not 10 years, but at some point, how much can we put in the ground? How much? Our recycling efforts, particularly in New Hanover County, are not maximized, and this whole issue of incineration is sort of up in the air. Is there a day of reckoning coming, Bill?
Well, you can look down and project it out, but there's a whole lot of things technology-wise that are on the horizon, and if not over the horizon, to take care of things too. And this is some of the things we asked them to look at in the Solid Waste Advisory Board too, and will be looked at in the future. For instance, just recently we got to take methane gas off the landfill, use that to generate energy also.
Is that happening?
We're on the way to do that.
We are, in New Hanover County.
Yeah.
Talk about some of your findings, Bob.
Yeah. Well, the one thing that we found, Don, through public input and comments, was that the people in the county were looking for what would be a total waste management program. Not just pick it up and get rid of it, but recycling, curbside recycling, these types of things. And we looked at that, and out of the proposals that were put to the SWAB board by the vendors, and
The vendors are the folks that haul or
right,
that deal with
that are currently
solid
doing
waste.
Business in New Hanover County as trash haulers. And then we came back to the commissioners with a recommendation that included more recycling, bringing Waste Tech up to speed.
Waste Tech is the incinerator.
As the incinerator.
When you say bringing it up to speed, what does that really mean?
Well, there's been a lot of criticism on Waste Tech from the standpoint that it's been down a lot. And the reason it's been down a lot, meaning it hadn't been operating at peak efficiency.
It's not burning as much as it could?
Right, has been because of the lack of maintenance on it. And the commissioners at a time were really put under the gun and being able to provide those funds because of lawsuits that were put in by the haulers that made the county have to drop its fee down to a fee that was competitive with hauling it out of county to a landfill.
All right, we'll talk about that in a second.
Okay.
But Bill, it's my understanding that the commission is kind of split on whether they should fund improvements on Waste Tech on the incinerator and whether they should keep it going at all.
Right, and that's the study that, again, to prove that to us one way or other. Philosophically or intuitively, you think this is the greatest thing in the world, is to burn the trash, create steam that generates electricity, which we sell to Progress Energy. But as Buck said, the Waste Tech was not running at maximum efficiency or close. We got a total of 800 tons that can be burned per day, 200-ton boilers and a 400-ton boiler. We were most oftenly working at 60-65%. So as the trash trucks come out to dump the trash, they're driving up the Waste Tech and seeing a red light. You just can't take it because it wasn't
Why
working.
did the commission make sure that Waste Tech was operating at its peak?
Well, part of it was because of this thing that we had contracts with our waste haulers that they've got to bring it to New Hanover County. Well, they sued that wasn't, we could not force them to come to the county. So in order to keep them here while that lawsuit and all that was going on, we had to drop the amount that we charged them to go into the landfill in order to keep them coming where they wouldn't haul it to.
Who won that lawsuit?
Well, we did. We eventually won that lawsuit that they had to stay here. And then that changed the equation for that. So, but the waste to energy facility, bless its heart, is what's causing the rate to dispose of a ton of trash to be higher because it costs money to run that.
All right, we're going to talk.
As opposed to putting it in the ground.
Well, we'll talk about
Yeah.
the cost, the real cost of.
Well, that should be factored in. I know where you're going with that.
Okay,
So,
we'll talk about that. Putting it in the ground, recycling,
Yeah, exactly.
and or burning, which are the three options. More of that when we come back. Stay with us.